Hey guys, this is Bo. We're back in the house again. You know what? We've had a wonderful week with Anthony Michaels. We've had a wonderful week with the IFL fighters, UFC fighters, and now we're going to change shifts a little bit to something with a little more horsepower. We've got the Indy Pro Series driver, Jonathan Klein. How you doing, Jonathan?
Oh, not too bad, Bo. Yourself?
Good, real good. Thank you very much for asking, buddy. Listen, we were going over your bio, trying to get some more feedback on you. We're going to have you share with us exactly where you came from, how long you've been racing, and we're going to go into some of your training habits to prepare yourself for strapping on that Bronco every week.
Yeah, well, to start, I'm from Chicago, born and raised. I live in Indy now, but I spent all 19 plus years of my life prior to now in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. I started racing when I was 6 years old in go-karts. Didn't really get too involved in it until I was around 12, and then I started racing karts nationally. But when I was 15 is when I started racing karts, and I kind of just did real well right from the start, pretty much, and just kept going and going. And now here I am, knocking on the front door of the IndyCar series.
I think what's impressive is all the preparation work you have to do to get yourself to strap into that monster. What is it like, first off, to strap into a machine like an Indy car?
It's intense. It definitely brings up the butterfly factor. Until that green flag falls, I think I speak on behalf of all the drivers. Everyone gets butterflies, and it's an intense feeling for sure. Because you're not strapping into your street car to go to work. It's balls to the wall, no joking around. 450 horsepower. Running around at 190 miles an hour, it's the real deal, and it's serious. So it's definitely fun to get ready. Mentally, obviously, drivers don't, we don't go out and party and cut loose and stuff before races, because it really does take all of your focus to really, perform in the car, and then physically. I myself, I don't lift weights. I played hockey since I was 3 years old, so I have all the muscle I need. But I cycle a lot. When I'm not cycling outside, if it's raining or if it's winter time, I have a trainer that the rear tire of my bike straps onto, and I sit in my living room and I watch TV and just cycle and ride. So it's contrary to popular belief. It's probably as physically demanding as any sport you can think of. For the entire duration that you're in that car, your heart rate's, I wouldn't say maxed out, but it's 170, 180 beats per minute, the entire time. And when you're cornering at G-forces of over 4 Gs, it's, that's a lot of strain on your body. So it's definitely more of a physical sport than people give it credit for.
And that's what I wanted to talk over with you, is the physical attributes, because we get a lot of emails from people out there talking about mixed martial arts, football, NFL. And when I bring up racing, a lot of them are taken back by my response saying that I think that the G-forces on the body, especially in the Indy-type cars, is more than what people give credit to. You guys are in top-notch shape. How high do you have to get your How high do you have to get your pulse up to get ready as a weekly level to strap in that car?
Well, a kind of general rule of thumb is that you want to do whatever cardio you're going to be doing for at least for as long as your longest, event in the car, your longest race, whether it's 100 miles or 500 miles. Like Tony Kanaan, Dan Weldon, Dario Franchitti, those boys, for the Indy 500, I guarantee you for weeks and weeks and weeks leading up to it, that's, I don't know, maybe a 3-hour race. They're probably doing cardio for 3 hours straight. If not longer, because you want to know what to expect and what it's going to be like to have your body physically perform at that level for that long. So you kind of train, you do your cardio for as long as your longest race.
And as far as, I've always wanted to ask this question, because every time I get it with a NASCAR guy or Indy guy, I always forget to ask this question, but I wrote it down, so if you would bear with me. When you take those turns, at an average turn, let's say at Indy, where it rounds about, and you're going to pass somebody up, I want to know what the G-force is and how do you figure out when to pass. Because in NASCAR, you can bounce off somebody. In Indy, you can't bounce off anybody or you're out.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's a good point. But you can touch each other, but you have to do it the right way. Obviously, Weldon and Frank didn't do it the right way at Michigan, and Dario unfortunately went upside down, and that's what happens in open wheel racing. That's why it's, I think the most intense sport in the world. To be 1 second driving along, and then the next second you're upside down at 220 miles an hour. That's something else. But yeah, setting passes, it's really what you do is it's more of a thinking game than people would think. You kind of want to sit behind your competitor and size up where his car is stronger than yours and where your car is stronger than his, and you take advantage of that. And then also you wait for mistakes. But sometimes you're just going to have a better car everywhere, and you can just go right around them.
And the other thing I think it plays into part big time in open wheel racing is your tires. How well are your tires put together for taking those turns? Because on TV, unless you see the RPMs and the speed limit, it doesn't look like you guys are going fast until they bring it to life, the actual speed you guys are accelerating through and into those turns. Tell us what that's like.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, Firestone actually gives us an excellent tire. They no qualms about it. They do a fantastic job, and we, I've never really experienced tire problems. I mean, there's certain races at tracks like Milwaukee where it's a tight little, bullring oval, or Iowa where, which is even less than a mile, where you definitely have to look for the life of your tires and make sure that at the end of the race you still have a car underneath you. But
Yep.
Yeah, going into those corners, I mean, the cars are so stiff and they're set up so on the line of driving well and spinning right out from underneath you. But as long as you know that and you can predict what's going to happen, you can pretty much go into those corners and the car just sticks like glue.
I think the most impressive thing about the Indy racing is the RPMs. When you step in that box and you turn it on, the engine, your whole body's got to be just quivering with excitement because the horsepower in the engine and what you're about to do. That's got to be deafening the first time you step into one of those things and start it up.
No, it's cool. I mean, I remember the first time I drove one. I was at the Texas Super Speedway, and I'm talking with the team about kind of like what's the standard operating procedure for leaving the pits and warming up, and how long does it take to get up to speed and this and that, and they explained it to me. And so I strap in, we go, we fire up, and I leave the pits, and I'm in second gear, not even first gear, and I'm going down pit lane at maybe 40, 50 miles an hour, and I just stabbed the throttle one time, and I almost crashed. It just stepped out big, and it's just got so much power. It's really fun. They're big, throaty V8s, and these tiny little light Formula cars. So it's wild. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely an experience to remember.
And one of the other things that people talk about all the time, and it's so hard for us to explain to the average person, even the big fan, there is a big difference between cars, despite the look and style of it and who makes them. What is the best car that you've driven before if you're allowed to say this, I'm not sure if we're violating any internal protocol, but the best style of car that you like to drive in the Indy Series? Who makes, in your mind, one of the best sound cars?
I think Sam Schmidt Motorsports is showing very well with Alex Lloyd. His team is actually my team from last year, so I know what